So I think it was the day before yesterday, there was a mass shooting at a high school in Arlington, Texas. 4 people were shot. That technically is considered a mass shooting by law enforcement. All the students, faculty evacuated. The suspected shooter, Timothy Simpkins, spent a matter of hours in jail. He's already been released on $75,000 and went right home to a party welcomed by his family and friends. And I've just never heard of such a thing. A suspected mass shooter already out, $75,000. The very next day, he's out on bail. I'd like to bring in two of the most experienced defense lawyers in the country, Joe Tacopina and also Mark Garagos, really two major heavyweights. Privileged to have you both here. Mark, first to you. I was just totally shocked, or is this a thing now? $75,000 bail, next day you're released, you're an accused mass shooter.
Well, at least in California, cash bail has been virtually eliminated. But I don't think you'd ever seen in most jurisdictions somebody on a school shooting released at $75,000 bond. So I find it somewhat unusual, if not an outlier.
And okay, unusual and outlier, that's kind of good to hear, because I would hate for this to be a real trend that's taking hold. But Joe, this is, I keep hearing, a moment, and everything's being reevaluated, and there's a great awakening, and the Black Lives Matter movement has had an effect. Do you think this is a sign of the times and more to come like this?
I really hope not, Greg. I mean, I hope if race has anything to do with the bail conditions set here, it's really outrageous. I mean, it's whatever color that person is, that kid is walking with that blue hat, it's irrelevant to me whether it's pink or blue or orange or white. The fact that he's out on $75,000 bail after shooting and attempting to kill multiple people. He shot 2 innocent teachers, an innocent young girl, and a kid who he claims he was in a fight with, but obviously the resolution of a fight is not to go get a gun and kill him. That kid is now in a coma. What's most despicable about this entire situation is that his family seems to be a little out of touch with what's right and wrong, clearly. The notion that he would go home to a celebration, a celebratory party, and posted a picture of himself on social media with this grin on his face, like a victory grin, is, as some kid lays in a coma, as a teacher has their spleen cut open, is really, really despicable. Yeah. And maybe that's the reason he carried a gun into that school. Maybe he thought he was able to or entitled to. And $75,000 bail, by the way, the car that picked him up with his family in it cost more than that $75,000 bail, the white Mercedes.
That is wild. That is wild. His defense attorney seems to quibble about what a mass shooter is and is not. Let's hear from the lawyer.
It's not arguing. The affidavit, the arrest affidavit, suggests that he shot 3 people by bringing a gun to school. So I just
understandable, but however, you're aware there's a distinction between a mass shooting and school shooting. These are people who are out to shoot multiple people, and that's not what happened.
The thing is, it's because other people were hurt. Does that make sense? Like, a teacher was hurt.
Understandable. All right.
So you're saying the narrative needs to change?
Absolutely.
Mark, I apologize. I quite frankly couldn't make out too much of what she said. The thing about it, though, I heard in the media, shortly after this happened, even before he was apprehended, there was a lot of talk of, well, he may have been bullied. Well, he may have been the subject of ridicule. I mean, a lot of mass shooters in history have been the subject of a lot of things. I was surprised. I know that's what a defense lawyer might start talking about later, but the media started talking about it very, very early on. Is there anything significant about that?
I was just going to say, Joe hit on something that I thought was significant. I mean, you can be excited that you're released. Your family can welcome you home. I understand that. Those are completely normal emotions. But if you're representing this person as a lawyer, the last thing you want is for that scene to now be played in the media, because one of the things that's going to happen is no self-respecting prosecutor is going to leave that on the cutting room floor. That's going to be put in front of the judge. It's going to be put arguably, if this ever gets to trial, in front of a jury. Once the prosecutor sees this, you're not going to have a whole lot of leverage to work out a deal if you've got anything. If you're arguing that somebody is a bully, this would tend to cut against that argument. So all in all, I know he's out, and I'm an advocate for usually not keeping people in pretrial, but it just seems like there's a lot of missteps here, and my guess is you're going to see some reversals of some of these decisions awful quick.
I am very surprised that so many January 6th protesters, those who have been arrested, are still in custody. And this young man just literally walked. I'm sorry, Joe, I believe you are representing one of the accused, 32-year-old Julian Cater. Just the, what does the fake news love to talk about? They love to talk about optics. And the optics should be terrible, but nobody seems to, quite frankly, care. Your clients, that group, they get absolutely no sympathy from the mainstream media.
No, and the fact that he is in jail for participating in a protest or participating in an event, despite the allegation that he had mace, by the way, not a deadly weapon, but mace, and used it. There is zero scenario where this person should be in jail, pretrial detention. There's just zero scenario, and he is. And then when I see someone who shoots 4 people, and 3 who have nothing to do with his alleged dispute, walk out on $75,000 bail and have a party. It really boils. I know I'm going to be getting a call from Mr. Cater tonight. There's no question about that, because he just can't understand. And the laws really are very clear about this. There's no scenario where Julian Cater or any of those January 6th protesters should still be in jail. I mean, they have presumptions of innocence that are supposed to be alive and well in this country. But apparently it's only alive and well in certain places and for certain defendants.
Mark, overall, and look, we've heard about people getting out of jail. You know, when I was a kid, there were stories about that happening, that people were outraged when somebody was released, when it was viewed prematurely by the community. And we had a judge here in New York. His nickname was Spring 'em Loose Bruce. We've had this for a long time, but I do feel, going back to my original kind of feeling, that something seismic is happening. There's a real pivot. From your perspective, though, we're not there. Or you're hoping we're not there, but we could be.
I mean, I don't think that we're there. We obviously, there's been a massive shift in the last 4 or 5 years in the way that we view the criminal justice system. But I will tell you, having both a sheriff and a district attorney in Los Angeles County who are variously subjected to recalls and things of that nature at any one time, nobody wants to wake up. And when I say nobody, no judge wants to wake up and have his decision or her decision second guessed or third guessed or on the front page of whatever their local paper is. I really, truly believe that this is an outlier. And like I said, I would expect you're going to see a reversal here of some kind very shortly.
All right. The judges get recalled too. I'm still a little bit burned about Gavin Newsom, but you don't have to weigh in, Mark. Neither do you, Joe. I wanted that to go a certain way. Mark Garagos and Joe Tacopina, 2 legendary litigators. We appreciate it so much. To be continued, and I'll be right back.